Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I did knock over my e-cigarette today. So, you know what? That's it, man. This is already a better video than I've done over the last several of them. Good for me. We're gonna explore a little bit, guys. This one might get long. It likely will. I want to get everything out. So, if you can indulge me. As per the thumbnail, what to look for when farming DEXs. We are the Podocasts, and believe it or not, we are an educational and investment channel. I do the investing. I'm not saying do what I do. Please, for the love of God, don't do what I do. But we are an educational channel, and I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into Dex farming. We've been doing it a long time. I've been farming Dexes a long time, and let's just let's just get into what I do. And I want to give you some context on this. We're not a hype channel. We're not these guys. Everything is great, man. We are certainly not that channel. So let's explore a couple of these things. This is the cosmos, and actually we're breaking out, man. Look, we're going to Terra, we're going to Arbitrum, we're gonna be all over here. But a lot of the models that they're using worked 2 years ago, and they simply have not gotten out of that model, and it's bleeding you, it's bleeding them, it's bleeding everybody. And I thought it'd be fun to just explore the why of it. So I think I have 5 or 6 up here, man. We're just going to pick them apart. I won't spend a tremendous amount of time on all of them. Just want to give you a little bit of context for those of you who maybe are farming and don't quite understand it all. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm going to start with wind, not for any particular reason. Just I wanted to start with wind. It's the Juno Dex. This thing is just absolutely getting massacred. It's getting massacred because it's based around a Dex token. And please keep in mind that when you're farming, if there is a Dex token, for example, this is the wind Dex, and there is a token called wind. Just be aware of what it is and what its purpose is. Now, wind, they pretty well stuck with the standard model. They tried to shore up everything is based around wind. They incredibly high APRs, incredibly high inflationary tokens, and people are just farming them flat. And don't take my word for it. There's a price over 90 days. That's a 90-day chart of wind. And again, it's not because it's a bad DEX. It's because it's based on a bad model. Hyperinflationary. You built it on Juno. Juno is, not happy. And so naturally the token's going to do the same thing. Now, there's no real magic here. All right. There really isn't. If you want to successfully, or at least kind of, I'm not going to say profitably right now, man. It's a rough market this morning. But if you want to be successful DEX farming, you cannot farm or be in any pool that touches the DEX token. That's a problem. And please understand, not everybody is going to turn an APR into an APY. People have caught on to this. I certainly haven't done it for a long time. The whole idea is that you are going to acquire as much of the easy liquid tokens, and you're just going to dump them. You're going to do it every single day. And when you do this, that's the end result. So wind, yeah, look, I wish them the best, man, but they started from a flawed premise with a bad model or just a dated model. It works great as long as more people keep coming, but if the whole idea is that more people have to buy it than sell it, then it's not really it's a meme. It's a meme at that point. So yeah, it's still a couple good pools, but I don't see anybody really rushing out to jump into Juno USDC. It's just it's tough, man. And Juno, you know what? I spent too much time on this one already. It's going to continue to bleed. I don't know what stops it. If you want to farm it, go for it. There's maybe a couple of There's really nothing I found over here that's even the least bit attractive. Most of these are inflationary tokens. Most of them are just bleeding flat, and your APR is never going to keep up. Is never going to keep up with the bleed. So, be advised. This is certainly not one that I recommend. And yeah, so there we go, and that'll kind of round out. Win. Now, I'm going to pivot on to Crescent because this is another one that is using a similar model. It's basically built completely around a Dex token, in this case, Beacree. Well, I mean, it's Beacree is the liquid Crescent, but you'll get the rub here. Now, you're going to see a remarkable similarity on the 90-day chart between this and Wind. This is just today, that last little thing. Man, look, it was a rough morning. What are you going to do? But you're going to see a very, very similar 90-day pattern on this one for the same reason. If you come over here to Crescent, you're going to see that almost everything up here is tied to Beacree. It has to be. See, now their idea here was really, really high, attractive inflationary pools, but you're tying them to a token that is, itself inflationary, and it just won't work if there are other pools that exist over here. Now, I'm still in this one. I'm still on here, but I own next to nothing of any kind of Crescent pool. The only two pools that I really farm over here are Atom USDC and Composite USDC. The APRs they're reasonable. They're not actually. You know what? They're if we could just get to it, they're like stupidly high. That's crazy money right there, man. That you're giving me this to pair stable. So it makes you step back and wonder, what are they doing with it? So it's TVL. It's attractive. It's good for investors. They see high TVL. Oh yeah, you got to get in on that. But all of the rewards on these things are paid out in Crescent. Like my big pool right there, paid out in Crescent. So it's an inflationary token. They have all they need, so they can pay out any kind of APR that they want. But anybody who's over here on this Dex that has serious money on this is most likely in any of these pools on the bottom that don't touch any form, except that one, that don't touch any form of Crescent, and then they're just farming it every day. They're taking it, they grab it, they liquidate it, they move it on. It's Dex arbitraging, and that's kind of the end result of that. So I think that similar models between Wind and Crescent, they're both going to bleed. They're both going to continue to do it. You can farm on these if you're in the right pools, and the pools do not touch the Dex token. So we're going to pivot now real quick over to Kajira. A lot of hype around this one. I mean, and it continues to really, really be hyped. It's an interesting model. I'll give you that one. This one is a little bit of an interesting model, but they're putting a lot of eggs in the USK basket. That's the Kajira stablecoin, and I'm not sold on it. I never have been. Now, this is, again, please, guys, it's pure opinion editorial, man. Don't get out the pitchforks if this happens to be one of your favorite sons. I'm not seeing it. I'm having a little bit of trouble with this. From an investor's perspective, but mainly from a farmer's perspective. This is what I do. All right, so I'm going to get into things that are in my best interest. I understand how the Dex works, but I'm going to get into the things that are in my best interest. And this one, I'm not quite sold on it. Now, when you break out a lot of the pools, there are a couple of decent pools over here. But again, look what they're paid out in. All of these are paid out in Kajira. It's right there. The heavier, the ones with a little bit more heavy incentivization, they're going to be paid out in multiple tokens. But all of these things are going to be paid out in Kajira. And that's a problem, because if more people are not buying Kajira, they're not finding a way to put that money to work to shore up their own token, it's going to bleed. Now, The chart on this one is a little bit different, but you can almost follow this particular chart around. You can almost follow this chart around influencer hype, because every time they spin it up and start talking about it, people start buying Kajira. It shores up the token. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's got a different one for the 90-day. Now, this is what I would expect right here, because you're just pushing off so much. Uh, you're pushing out so much Kajira, paying for the liquidity pools, that the token's going to bleed, because believe it or not, farmers use the same model. We look for tokens, or we look for pairings with a decent APR to mitigate our risk as much as possible, but we don't want to pair with the native Dex token. We just don't. All right, we're there to farm it. So why would I buy something that I'm going to farm? I'm basically forcing devaluation on my own investment. So I'm not going to do it. But every now and again, this one does. Every now and again, this one will hit. The little influencers will start going nuts on it. Oh my goodness, look what we did! They found new investment, new something, and then it'll pump back up. But it's going to start its bleed again because of this. It's going to bleed it out again, because we're going to farm the hell out of the token. That's not a bad pool if you don't mind getting into USK. I'm not, but if you're sold on it, you know what? It's not a bad pool. There's a few of them up here that are not awful. The APRs are reasonable. You can justify most of these, but again, it comes down to that right there. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse. It comes down to Kajira. I mean, that's it. That's the problem with it, is the fact that all of these are paid out in Kajira. So, you know what? It's a good Dex. They're trying a lot of different things. Caveat emptor. Just understand what's about to happen to you. So let's pivot to Shade real quick. Another neat Dex, real slick. All right, there's a lot going on this one, and they are bringing some unique stuff, but they're paid out in Shade, and it is what it is, man. Dexes, any Dex that has a Dex token, they're going to tie as much as they can to the Shade, or to that Dex token. And, sorry, I hit the wrong button. They're going to tie as much as they can to it, because that's the idea, is for them to sell their Dex token. Now, they're doing something a little bit different here. If you look at the Shade Protocol, the token, $7.21. And oh my goodness, look how stable over the last 90 days. You know, look at how stable it is. That's been fantastic. I'm not sure where they're going with this one, because they're gaming the Oracle a little bit. If you come over here to Osmosis, which is more or less the home of our fixed pricing in the Cosmos, the token's going for $6.63 if you want to swap it for something. Now, there's some slippage here, guys. We'll call it $6.79. That's what Osmosis says it's worth. But if you want to swap it for anything, you're going to eat a lot of slippage. There's no big LPs over here that have Shade in it. So $6.79 here, and $7.21 here. Just be advised. They're not doing anything really different here. Everything is still paid out in the Shade token. So they're managing their APYs a little bit. And by the way, that's an APY, not an APR. Just be advised. Yeah, but they're doing a lot of that stuff. What they're doing is trying to shore up Silk, which is, let's call it the secret network stable token. But yeah, their pooling is a little bit weird in this, and what they're doing is, you know what? It's pure conjecture. I'll talk about it on the live stream. Be advised on this one is that this is also going to be a farmable token. Almost virtually everything over here is paid out in Shade. And when it's all paid out in Shade, with the exception, I say that, and then we have a little bit of agoric in there. They're just, trying to get some visibility for IST. But if it's paid out in Shade, it's going to be farmed. The token's going to go down. It is what it is. Just be advised. This one is not a terrible farm right now, and I think you're going to do okay on it over next 60, 90 days if you stay out of the Shade pools. If you don't pair with anything that has to do with Shade, you're going to do okay on this one. It's farmable. That's all I'm saying on this, but just be aware of what it is. So Quick pivot. This video went long. Nobody's going to watch this. That's okay. I could say that I got the information out. Astra Port. So when you come over here to Terra, Terra's a little bit different, and Terra's always been really, really good before the the implosion of UST and Luna. But Terra's always been really good about squeezing a dollar out of a nickel. They've always been very, very good about moving and manipulating their money. And Astroport's no different. So the bulk of their pools, it's the same. I mean, paid out in Luna or paid out in Astro. So as long as they have something that they're offsetting that pool with, meaning one of their own tokens, their own inflationary kind style token, then they can make the APR whatever they want. So, I mean, if you come up here, the very first pool you see up here is Astro and Axlar USDC. Not a bad pool. It really isn't. And at 100% APR, I want you to think about that for a minute. How are you giving 100% APR with a Dex token paired with a stable? You're doing it because the amount and price of Astro is pretty well irrelevant to you at that time. I didn't pop this one up. Let's do it together and let's see how they are doing over the last 90 days. I like 90-day charts. And yeah, I mean, we got our bleed, and then we got our pump, and then we're going to get our bleed again, and it'll likely continue. There's so much competition in this space. I mean, there's just a lot of competition in the Dex space. And when you get a lot of competition in the Dex space, then the old models no longer work, and there we are. But yeah, if you're going to come up and down, you're going to see that almost every pairing up here is paired with Luna. And, it is what it is. Luna, Terra, welcome back. And yeah, so another one, just be advised. It's sort of farmable, man, but you're going to have to be Johnny on the spot on this one, and you are going to have to clear them out. I mean, just every single day. They're not your friends, all right? They're not here to make you wealthy. They're here to, it's their business. And they're not working for you, man. Just, again, be advised. And we're going to round this out because this got really long. We're going to round this out with Camelot. Camelot's doing something a little bit different here, and I kind of respect this. I like what they're doing. I still have not picked it completely apart, trying to figure out how they're doing what they're doing. So we're just going to take one simple pool over here, and this is in their version 3, which is still in beta. They tell you that. And we're going to start right there with the only pool that I'm in over here, which is Ethereum USDC. So that's exactly what it is. It's an Ethereum USDC pairing that is paid out in Ethereum and USDC. So these are interesting, and the entire model over here is interesting because they do have a DEX token. It's called Grail. And Grail is doing what the rest of the world is doing right now, which is a nice slow bleed as people run to Peppy and whatever else happens to be coming out. But they're going to bleed the same as anybody else. You got Grail paying Grail. It's going to go. Farmers are going to farm it. That's what we do. But the unusual one is what they have going on over here, and I haven't fully figured it out. But as long as you're going to pay me 70% APR on an Ethereum USD pool, and you are going to pay me out in Ethereum USDC, you see those right there? That's what they're going to pay me in. So I'm sorry, again, you can't see my mouth. Just look over on the right. You see where it says pending fees? You see that they're paying me in Ethereum and USDC. That's the part I haven't quite figured out yet. So as long as that money keeps coming, I'll stick around. When that money goes away, we'll have to figure out something else. But they're actually breaking the model a little bit, and I find that interesting. I find that very, very interesting. I just have to figure out the why of it. I'm a big fan of the who, what, when, where, why, and how. So I'm sorry, guys. This video ran way too long. 20 minutes for a YouTube video is too long. But there's no way to get this information out unless you make a long video. So I appreciate you guys sticking around. I would love your comments, your questions, your concerns, your feedback. Scott at ThePodocasts.com, and I answer any and all of them. And until next time, please stay safe. Please be smart with your money. Cheers.